If I asked you to think of the most iconic case in lawsuit history, I bet you go with one of two options. Either Carl Jobst vs. Billy Mitchell, where I was called as a witness in court and they used my fart as evidence, or you will think of the McDonald's lawsuit from many moons ago where a woman successfully sued McDonald's after getting a hot drink spilled on her, which awarded her millions of dollars. That case has been referenced and talked about more than the Naruto vs. Pain fight. Basically, she had a drink that was dangerously hot, fucking matched the power of the sun. They basically served a cup of magma, and it spilled on her and it disfigured her. So she sued them, wanting her medical bills covered for all the medical treatment she went through as a result of it, but Ronald McDonald said, best I can do is one of these. It went to trial. The jury awarded her like $2.7 million in punitive damages, which eventually got knocked down to a little less than that, but she did receive a fat paycheck for all the damage that was caused. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we just saw a pretty similar song and dance happen with Starbucks, where a man was served some hot tea that spilt on his lap in the drive-thru, disfiguring him, and he has now just been awarded $50 million. We have footage of exactly what happened here, so you can see the Starbucks employees got 3 venti hot teas that they're putting in a carrier right now and about to serve to the customer. But these hot teas have a different destination in mind. They're going straight to Penisville. So Michael grabs the carrier and one of the hot teas fucking ODST shock drops right onto his groin, which has caused third-degree burns and disfigurement to his penis, groin, and inner thighs. Now, I've seen some people make the claim that he did it to himself, like he threw the teas on him, like took a bath in it to try and sue Starbucks for damages. I don't get that sense watching that clip there, because you can see when he brings it into the car, that back one just fucking plops out. I don't get the feeling that there was any intent to disfigure his penis here for the sake of a paycheck. It really seems like when he brought it into the car, and as he was moving to set it into the seat next to him, that one hot tea just said, I'm out. So it fell onto his lap, which then caused him to, accelerate in pain and panic. So I don't think it was on purpose. According to his attorney, he said that Michael's life has been forever changed. No amount of money can undo the permanent, catastrophic harm he suffered. This jury verdict is a critical step in holding Starbucks accountable for flagrant disregard for customer safety and failure to accept responsibility. So the lawsuit was on the grounds that Starbucks was at fault for not properly securing the hot drinks to the carrier, which led to this dick disaster. And he's won. According to CBS, the jurors deliberated for just 40 minutes. They speedran that. They said, fuck you, Starbucks, check this gold split on the verdict. And also, Starbucks initially offered Michael $3 million before it went to trial, even upping it to 30 million clams, which he agreed to, but only under the condition that they apologize, change their policy, and issue a memo to stores telling them to double-check their hot drinks before handing them to customers. Starbucks declined those terms. They said, no sirree, Buster, we will not accept under those stipulations. We'll see you in court. We're coming for what's left of your wiener, as they put on the brass knuckles and look like fucking stooges going into court. It seems like a pretty reasonable request. Like, okay, we'll settle this, but I want you to say sorry. And also, maybe change your policy a little bit when it comes to hot drinks, letting your employees know, like, hey, maybe just be super certain that these things are locked in there, fucking strapped in. So that way more people don't spill it on themselves. Like, it doesn't seem like he was asking for the world or anything. It's not like he was asking to have a bronze bust of his face in every Starbucks across the country or anything. He really did just ask for something kind of simple. I don't know what Starbucks had a conniption about, blowing a gasket and saying, nope, now you're getting nothing from us. But it's a decision that cost them an extra $20 million for it. Maybe they just really don't like the idea of apologizing. They cross their arms. No. We won't say sorry. But the more I stew on it, I think what they most likely had an issue with was the policy change of, like, telling the workers more about the drinks and securing them. Maybe they thought that would be costly as, like, a training the employees more, or, like, having to change the carrier that it comes in or something. So they thought that maybe this would give, like, wiggle room for something like that, which could cost them more. I don't really know. It's hard to really get into the mind of a Starbucks higher up, because to do that, I'd have to hit my head against the wall 50 fucking times. Anyway, though, Michael has had to undergo 2 skin grafts to his penis and states that any friction to the area causes pain. I imagine he's not lying about that. getting third-degree burns on your winky, I have no doubt will cause a long, long period of pain from even, like, very simple things. So I don't think he's making up, you know, how much he's gone through. Getting penile skin grafts, that shit sounds horrifying. Now, admittedly, I don't understand how the $50 million was calculated. He has dysfunction, permanent damage, and psychological damage all stated in this, but how do you put numbers on that, and how does it reach $50 million? I don't really get how it reaches that number. Not that it bothers me, I think it's great that Starbucks is about to pay this guy $50 million. It's just, how do you get there? Because you could come over here right now with a pair of rusty pliers and rip my cock off, and it'd be safe to assume that my winky was never going to squirt out $50 million worth of value. So, I'm admittedly confused how it got to such an astronomical number here, but who gives a fuck? You won't find me shedding tears for a billion-dollar corporation like Starbucks having to pay this guy $50 million now. Congrats to him. That's a big W for sure. Yeah, he definitely went through something traumatic here, but I'm sure $50 million is going to help moving forward with all of this. Starbucks, though, is planning to appeal the decision. They claim that it has always been committed to the highest safety standards in our stores, saying, "We sympathize with Mr. Garcia, but we disagree with the jury's decision that we were at fault for this incident and believe the damages awarded to be excessive." It is a lot of money in damages, and it's not like the Starbucks employee went out there and fucking slapped it out of his hand like it was a game of Magic the Gathering and they flipped the table on him. It is one of those things where after it was given to the customer, then the drink fell out. But I think you can, and they clearly did, make a convincing argument that more could have been done to ensure that the top of the lid wouldn't fly off and lead to the whole beverage spilling all over him, and that it wouldn't fall out of the carrier if it was secured better. But I think the main reason they want to appeal this and fight back against it isn't even like the money element of it. $50 million, Starbucks higher-ups wipe their ass with that on the daily. They probably wouldn't even notice that as a blip on their radar. But what they don't want is anyone to try and emulate this on purpose. While I don't think this guy did it on purpose, since we have footage, it doesn't seem like he did it intentionally. There definitely would be someone that would see a payday like this and be like, that's the ticket. That's what I'm going to do right there. I'll go sacrifice my dick cheese, spilling this hot coffee on my groin, and I'll sue Starbucks for it. And I think Starbucks just doesn't want that to be like an option. They don't want to leave that door open here if they accept like full responsibility and just roll over for it. At least that's what I think the goal is with Starbucks trying to fight back against it. But then I started thinking, how likely is it that someone would go through all of that like penile skin grafts, permanent dysfunction and damage for a potential lawsuit settlement, a big payday? I think the likelihood's pretty high. Would I do it personally? Depends on my age. If I was guaranteed to win a $50 million lawsuit against Starbucks, if I just put my wiener through a traumatic and permanently disfiguring experience, I would consider it if I was in my 80s. Because right now, I get a lot of mileage out of my cock. But when I'm in my 80s, you know, yeah, we're going to have great memories together and everything, but at that point, I'm just going to be playing with, like, bubblegum down there. Like, it's not going to be, you know, as prominent. So I feel like I'd be more likely to try something like this for a $50 million payday the later in life I am. Not that anyone was asking me if I'd try this strategy or not, but I just thought about it for a little bit, so I wanted to share the conclusion that I drew for it. So yeah, big congrats to Michael here for the $50 million. I guess we'll see how the appeal process goes, but pretty interesting shit. I just wanted to talk about it a bit. That's it. So yeah. Today I'm going to give you a little lesson free of charge here, no course purchase required, about recognizing and accepting rejection.
The girls only table.
It's only girls table?
Yeah, I'm asking you to I'm respectfully asking you to go to another table.
If you want to like speak with you guys, like...
There are plenty of tables, like there's that one over there that you guys could go to.
Why is she so rude?
Because I'm not, go away.
It's true.
Go, begging.
Now I'll go ahead and break this down here like John Madden going over a play. These are subtle signs that she's not entirely interested in you and doesn't want you to continue to pursue her. So this video's popped off with people shooting spitballs at the two dudes here and everyone giggling about it. Matt sent it to me this morning. It's pretty fascinating. So what happened here is apparently they sat down at this table to try and woo and win the hearts of these two women here. and they weren't really having it. They didn't want that. So they are both telling them to please leave. Literally in no uncertain terms, just saying go. But the two goobers still just sit there like a fucking half-smiling emoji the whole time. Like, they are actual video game characters, but they forgot to program other facial animations. It is so interesting.
On my knees, go. It's just like it's our table.
It's just weird for you to just sit down with us. Like,
go to the table where there's no people. Right there. You see that? Guys, there's no one over there. You should go sit there. I think you should go sit there. Look, it's crying. It has no people at its table. You guys need to go over there.
My brother likes your friend.
That's good. We are both in relationships, and I'd love if you'd leave.
Why so good?
Go away, please. Go. Go.
I love how the main stooge of this dynamic duo of desperation just continues to ask why she's being so rude instead of just leaving. Like, it's not like this is a very tricky situation to understand here. Like, it's not like she's speaking in riddles. She is just outright saying many times, go, please leave, go to that table over there, get the fuck out of here, dweebs. Like, Jiminy Christmas, it sounds like she's talking to a dog about going outside to go to the bathroom. But at least the dog understands that. Like, these guys are still just sitting there as if they have some chance to salvage this. I don't know what's running through this main guy's head where it's like, okay, there's still hope here. We can still get some pussy out of this, I believe in it. Like, no, this is beyond kaput here. Like, what the fuck? It's absurd. Now, I understand it's entirely possible that English isn't their first language, but here's the thing. Anger is universal. Even if you don't speak a fucking tiddlywink of the language, you can still recognize when someone is yelling at you. Like, if someone is pointing and getting loud and animated, you can make a really good guess that they're probably telling you to scram. These aren't mixed signals or anything, you know, hard to decipher. It's not some kind of grand mystery to solve. They are clearly not interested, and there is really nothing you can do besides continue to make a fool of yourself here. That is the only outcome.
Go. Do you want me to spill your Guinness on you? Because I will. Go. 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 Go away. I'm asking you to fucking leave. Go. 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 I guess we'll go then. You want our table? We'll fucking go. 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 Leave. I'm asking you to fucking leave. Go. Get away. Witch! 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 Go!
I love how when they say, okay, we'll just leave, then you guys can take the table, you won, you planted your flag, here it's yours, and then as they're leaving, the guys start scooting with them like, no, don't go! Like, what? Trying to follow them around like a hemorrhoid here. How can you not have any level of shame? What? Literally following them around like Pikmin. I really think he perceived this whole exchange here as playful banter and flirting as part of the romantic process here, as part of the coitus protocol, which is just unhinged. It is so delusional. She has literally screamed in a public restaurant about you leaving and shouted witch at you. Now, even if you've been completely poisoned by Hollywood romance films, you won't see that scene in there where the protagonist somehow turns that situation into a fucking marriage or something between the two of them. It doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. But he just keeps smiling about the whole thing as if he's, like, absent. Like, it literally looks like his brain is blue-screened, and he still just sits there taking all of it as, like, a good thing. Like, laughing and following them. How are you not humiliated? I'm also going to make a bold prediction here that after all of this, these two dudes walked away thinking that those two girls were the problem. Like, man, those crazy bitches, can you believe the way they yelled at us? What's up with that? That's ridiculous, huh? Like, it will never dawn on them that maybe their approach to this was just dog shit. Like, come on. Let's turn this into a teachable moment here, though I hope there's no one out there that actually needs a lesson in how dumb this is. When you try and invite yourself into someone else's company and they're not receptive to it, like they're asking you not to, you're never going to win that battle of wills where you're forcing your presence upon them and you're gonna make it a positive experience for anybody. It's not a fucking car sale. Like, this not taking no for an answer and just being annoyingly persistent like a little cockroach. No one likes that. Even outside of the context of trying to get your wiener wet here. People aren't obligated to give you the time of day and play nice when you try and force yourself upon them through this sense of entitlement where everyone owes you a conversation and a shot. No matter how hard you try and put that triangle into the square hole, It just doesn't fit. No one likes that. And especially in a case like this, just accept the no, accept the rejection, and move the fuck on. Anyway, just wanted to talk about this video a little bit. That's it. See ya. No long-winded intro, let's get this farty sharted. I just learned about a really peculiar stalker. Not that there's like a normal stalker, but this guy is very unusual even when it comes to stalkers. And his obsession is on Jennifer Aniston. Now, according to his wife, according to Daily Mail, she said that he became obsessed with her in 2023, and he's made 3 trips out to try and meet her. His most recent one ended with him crashing his car through Jennifer Aniston's gate and getting arrested.
Was the intruder who crashed through Jennifer Aniston's security gate at her Bel Air compound an obsessed fan who thought he was going to marry the actress?
Security has a suspect at gunpoint.
The close call happened yesterday around noon while Aniston was at home.
So he used his car like a missile trying to get through Jennifer Aniston's gate, and I'm getting conflicting reports on whether or not he rammed through the gate or just hit it. I mean, looking at the gate, it doesn't seem like he blew it to pieces or anything. Also, that gate looks thicker than a fucking bowl of oatmeal. That looks like a giant, thick vault door. So I'm surprised that his car didn't vaporize upon impact there. Now, this wasn't like some accident or anything. It's not like this guy was playing Mario Kart looking for a shortcut through her, gate. This is an obsessed stalker who found where she lived and then, come hell or high water, decided he was going to meet her.
His name is Jimmy Carwile. He's a 48-year-old mechanic and from Mississippi. On his social media, we found these rambling posts about Jennifer Aniston. I want to be there with you, even right now. And, Jen, I am your mirror. We made you perfect.
Unhinged ramblings about his fixation on Jennifer with this fantasy of the two of them getting married. And he would talk about Jennifer Aniston the same way you'll see some people talk about Genshin Impact characters. Like, he was just going on and on about romance and love and how they're, like, destined to be together. She was to be his queen, and it gets really fucking weird.
He even writes about marrying the actress, even addressing her by her new fantasy name. I know I make you smile, Mrs. Jennifer Joanna Carwile. And there's this. The truth, Jen, when you were a child, you wanted to be my wife.
For the most part, a lot of it is just incoherent mumbo-jumbo. And that last one there? What the fuck even is that? I can't even understand what he's trying to say there. When she was a child, she wanted to be his wife. What in tarnation? Jennifer Aniston's almost 10 years older than this guy, so it's not like he could have been stalking her since she was a child, unless he built a time machine in his hot tub to travel back so he could stalk her as a kid, and he's also like a pedophile. Like, I have no idea what he's even trying to say. Like, it is absolute fucking gibberish.
Today, a patrol vehicle sits outside Jennifer Aniston's front gate as the man who's accused of crashing through it remains behind bars without bail. Lou Palumbo was Jennifer Aniston's former bodyguard and protects many celebrity clients. He spoke with our producer, Emma Cady.
You said he used to work for Jennifer. Yeah. Is that the type of person you would be worried about?
A real brain buster of a question. Is that psychopath crashing through her front gate someone you think we should be a little concerned with? You as an expert in bodyguarding, do you think that's someone that would be like a red flag put on your radar as a potential threat? Like, oh shit, yeah, obviously. And the guy's like, absolutely. Yeah, he's an obsessed fucking freak. Of course. I'm not entirely sure what the question was hoping to illuminate there. You don't need to be a connoisseur of protecting a human being to know that someone like this is a dangerous individual, someone who is obsessively typing for years about a fantasy relationship and actually flying out to meet them multiple times, trying to meet them, and then eventually crashing into their estate to meet them again, is a problem person, is a bad fucking apple. Like, anybody knows that. That is a very interesting question to ask. Now, he has been taken into custody, and he is facing some charges, and he appeared in court.
Real, she just wants to tell him something.
I don't believe him staying away from Ms. Aniston will be an issue at this time.
Well, it has been an issue.
The alleged victim, their residence, or place of employment. Mr. Carwile, listen to what I'm saying. Please don't respond. You're not to have any contact with Jennifer Aniston under any conditions. You're to stay 100 yards away from.
He actually looks like those old paintings of Socrates, and he appeared in court shirtless with like a blanket covering him, but he had his fucking pepperonis peeking out from behind it. He was airing his nipples out in court. I didn't even know you could do that. I didn't know that was allowed. I thought that'd be like an immediate contempt or something. So what you were just hearing right now is a judge is ordering a mental competency evaluation before going forward with all the criminal proceedings. But in the meantime, Carwile is not allowed within 100 yards of Jennifer Aniston. But this appearance here I thought was just so fascinating. He 100% looks like a sociopath. Like a caricature of what you think of when you think of like an obsessed stalker psycho. Now, the wife of Mr. Carwile has actually given an interview to Daily Mail apparently, and she sheds a lot of light on this. So according to her, the last time she saw him was September of 2024 when he traveled to California to begin his adventure with Jennifer Aniston. He had allegedly made 2 previous attempts but turned up no results there, and this was his 3rd venture out there, his 3rd expedition. She said she believed that Jimmy just got a bit aggravated because he couldn't meet the star when explaining why he rammed his car into the gate. I think a bit aggravated is underselling it a little bit. There are few things that would ever elicit that kind of anger that would warrant crashing your car into something. That is dangerous fury. So then she goes on to say that her husband is a great guy, but he had started struggling with mental illness. It's something that's between him and his maker. Mental illness is real. It does not discriminate. He's going through a lot right now. He believed he was Jesus Christ and she was supposed to be his queen. His mentality is nothing like it used to be. Something has triggered him. I don't know if he's having a midlife crisis or what. She's right on the money. Stalking entirely is a mental illness. He is 100% suffering from a mental illness, a very dangerous one. Everyone who stalks does. Now, this guy is also taking it to another level where he is now aggressively stalking violently. He is crashing his car into the home of his victim. Now, she added that he'd reportedly began this obsession in 2023 and was sending her a series of alarming messages, including emails, voicemails, and social media messages. She said he was going there because he was going to meet up with Jennifer. He was going to go see her. He actually thought he was going to meet Jennifer. I guess he was speaking with her. He had the impression that Jennifer Aniston and he were going to talk and meet. So naturally, he's doing what anyone would do. He went across the country. I found that statement to be a little, concerning that she would say, naturally, he's doing what anybody would do. This is not something sane people do under any circumstances, where they'd go across the country because they believed that they had a chance at meeting a complete stranger that would fall in love with them. That is very dangerous ways of thinking. So she says that Carwile believed he would meet up with the actress. He thought maybe she's just going to meet a guy to take a chance. That's the way he was thinking. Obviously, I feel bad for the wife in this because this is something she's been dealing with for 2 years now, where her husband keeps going out to California to be with another woman, to try and have another woman fall in love with him, and he is actively engaging in this at home too, sending messages to another woman obsessed with somebody else. Like, that must be miserable. Now, from what I've seen, Jimmy's looking up at a potential 3 years in prison for this stunt with the charges that he's got, so I guess we'll see how it all shakes out. But I read about this today and thought it was fucking peculiar, so I just wanted to share it a bit. That's it. See ya. I read a rather goofy story yesterday that I'd like to share with all of you. It's about a man who drained his family's entire bank account in order to throw it all in cash out of a speeding vehicle on the interstate. I believe the motivation was he wanted to try and give back to people, but it's the most inefficient way imaginable. He's like a very confused Robin Hood. He didn't steal from the rich to give to the poor. He stole from his family to give to nature, because most of those bills that he loosely threw out of the car have absolutely ended up just getting either eaten by animals or buried in dirt, sand, run over by other cars, ripped in half. It's just the dumbest plan ever. Nothing about it makes sense. He did it in loose $100 bills. That's giving the money to nobody. He basically just created a real-life video game Easter egg. If you go to these random coordinates off the interstate, you might find a few loose hundreds. It is wild. I can only envision a couple of other worse ways of trying to give money to people, and that'd be dumping 200K in cash down a river and then saying like, well, I wanted to help people, so anyone that happens to go by the river might be able to fish out a couple hundreds or a couple $1,000s from it. Or dumping 200K into a dormant volcano and then saying it's like a long con, so when the volcano erupts, it's like this giant money like geyser that's shooting money into the atmosphere for people to collect on its way down. Like, it's just wildly nonsensical and inefficient if you're actually trying to help people. However, chat actually tossed around a theory that opened my third eye to what was probably the motivation behind this, and it most likely wasn't to help people. So I'm just gonna lay it out real quick before showing you all the clips. Basically, this guy drained his family's entire joint bank account of $200,000 and then threw money out of his car on the interstate. Now, since 200K was now missing from the family's bank account and a lot of money was thrown out of the window and scattered throughout the interstate on the side, they just assumed all 200K had been thrown out by this guy. But what is most likely the case is he threw out a chunk of it, maybe like $10,000, and then kept the other 190K and can just pretend that he threw all of it away, meanwhile has pocketed most of it for himself. Because people have reported that they picked up like $2,000, $1,000, this and that, but it's not like there's these huge batches of like 50K or anything. Like, all of the reported numbers so far are $1,000 to $2,000, so it doesn't equal 200K. He very, very well could have just thrown out a small portion of it and kept the rest in order to throw his family off his trail. Like, no, I don't have the money anymore, I threw it all away to help people. Meanwhile, he actually does still secretly have the money. But that's just a theory, though I do think that does have a lot of weight. You hear about the man in Oregon who threw over 200K out of a speeding car on the highway? Yeah, that was a cool story. I'll bring that up. That's a wholesome one. It's not wholesome at all, actually. But his heart was in the right place. He's just a little confused.
$200,000 cashed out a car window. He said he wanted to help people in need.
Yep.
It was his money.
His car as he drove along an interstate in Eugene, Oregon.
Which is just a wild idea, by the way. Like, first of all, throwing 200K in cash anywhere is wacky. Like, that is outrageous. But to throw it out of a speeding vehicle is even stupider. It's going to be extremely hard to pick up the cash. But not only that, to throw it out of a speeding vehicle on the interstate where human beings are not, like, walking is even stupider. Then all the money's just going to keep getting run over until it's worthless. Everything about this plan screams that he had just done, like, PCP or something and he was seeing God. He was like, holy shit, I'm chosen. Gotta drain the bank account to spread the love.
This guy was driving up and down I-5, dropping out tons of cash.
Chaos erupted as motorists pulled over looking for a wad of bills.
It's also extremely dangerous just to be walking around the interstate like this. Like, this is the worst place you could have ever had people going on a fucking scavenger hunt. And at night, too. This lady's out here playing on Ultra Nightmare mode. She's wearing black on black. I don't know what the fuck that thought process is. Hopefully she doesn't see like $100 bill out there, because that could spell the end. That could just be a disaster. Or if you were like an evil supervillain, you put like $100 bill on like a fishing line, you throw it out and reel it in like Mr. Krabs when he was chasing that dollar around. Like, this whole thing is just so fucking ridiculous.
Word spread fast.
Some friends called me and said that they got $2,000.
They left their cars on the side of the road with traffic whizzing by. Just a handful of people wondered if this was the right thing to do.
We have one of the people who picked up the large sum of cash, $1,800 worth.
Oh, they thought it was stolen.
I-5 wanting to know what to do with the money.
The dude who is said to have tossed out the family bank account has been identified as Colin Davis McCarthy.
Classic Colin W.
Say he does.
This guy isn't in any legal trouble at all because he was on the account. He had a right to throw the money away, as crazy as it sounds.
The family says, please
sounds like a
return
radio
it.
DJ.
That money is very much needed by the family.
Such a fucking crazy story. Every single iota of that plan is dumb. Draining all of the money from his family's account, and then instead of like doing, if he wanted to just give away everything, like all of his worldly possessions or whatever, that's one thing. You like actually give it away or do some kind of, I don't know, effective means of giving. This guy just threw it out over the interstate like a bank robber, and then he throws away like his family's financial security. I bet it was only like 80K and they're just lying. Brother, what? Okay, let's assume you're right. If he threw out 80K from the car window, the story is just as fucking stupid. It doesn't change. It's not like the amount that makes it outrageous. It's the whole idea of it, though the amount absolutely does help elevate the goofiness. I'll be waiting on 275 for someone to do this. Yeah, maybe he's gonna start a trend like that whole pay it forward trend where in a drive-thru you used to pay for the people behind you's meal. Maybe now people just drain their bank accounts and start tossing that shit out the window on the interstate. I'd love to like see an interview with Colin. I want to know. Can you imagine Mr. Beast doing the same thing? I really couldn't. Like, I actually couldn't. I could see like a really supervillain's a word I've been using a lot recently, but I can't think of another word for it. But I could see like a rich supervillain doing something similar. Like maybe this inspires him and he throws out like 200K, but over like an old minefield. Like some of those locations that still have buried landmines that are a danger to people, just literally throwing it out there and not telling people, or not telling people it's all landmines everywhere. Like that could be crazy. I could see that. That'd be like an actual plot for some kind of evil bad guy. Vigilante. Well, that's definitely not the right word for it. That's not a vigilante at all. That's like actual Squid Games, yeah. Draining the family's bank account without telling them or anything like that, immediately ruining that, like, pretty much their life, that's debilitating. To give all the money away is one thing, but to just throw it out the window is a totally different one. Like, if you just set up a garage sale where people, like, pull up and he gives you money to take away some of his items, like, I'd be like, oh, wow, what a fucking saint. Look at this guy. Let's get a load of this fucking guy. They did it on the interstate. I almost feel like he did want to see people getting hit. Like, maybe he actually is just a evildoer. He was like, I'm going to throw out 200K and I want to see how many greedy people go out there to collect it and then get fucking slaughtered. Like Jigsaw playing a game with people's greed. Oh, that's interesting. He probably threw out 10K and kept the rest. That... Maybe we're not giving him enough credit. Perhaps this was all a ruse. So he drains the family's bank account, and then he comes up with this outrageous plan. I'll throw some of the money out on the interstate. The family would report 200K is missing, and then this story would come out with all of this money that was thrown on the interstate, but we only have like a few people that have confirmed like 2K, 1.5K. Yeah. Oh, maybe. So he threw out 10K and he's pocketed the other 190 and they're like, oh shit, damn, guess it's all gone. Sorry guys, I just really wanted to help people. Meanwhile, he's still got 190K in his fucking mattress. Holy shit, that's what the 80K guy was saying. He's actually smart. True, yeah. I'll eat shit on the 80K guy. That must have been like the tree he was barking up there. That is quite the plan. That is a nefarious plot. And would actually be kind of smart if you're trying to fuck your family and take all the money for yourself. Yeah, because the amount doesn't match up with what people picked up. Well, that's only what people have reported. Do you know how many people have probably been out on this fucking interstate for the last 2 days? Literally camping there? You probably have some of those, like, old beachgoers with the metal detector out looking for $100 bills now. Like, the spirit's there, but the, you know, the brain's not. The body's willing, but the mind's fried. Like, they're probably trying everything. So there's, maybe it was the whole 200K, the whole kit and caboodle, and people have just taken it and then, you know, went home and haven't talked to the news agencies about it. Because again, most people are going to assume it's stolen cash, and with stolen cash, I imagine you have to give it back. So they're probably like, fuck that. I'll take this 30K worth of stolen cash I found in the ditch here and just go home.
Yeah, I've got COVID again. This makes number 5 for me. I'm the Michael Jordan of COVID. Pretty much anytime I go to like an event, I'm guaranteed to get COVID, it seems. It's really infuriating. I'm the faker of getting COVID. I was even considering doing a tier list for all of my experiences with it so far, but we'll see. The only reason I mention that is because I'm going to sound congested here. My voice might also start cracking, but I don't really feel like editing all that much, so I'll probably just leave it in. Just know it's not a second puberty or anything. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this trend. Maybe? I don't know. I only just learned about it today, but it's been going on for about a month, where OnlyFans creators are putting AI Down syndrome filters on their content to try and drive more clicks to their OnlyFans. I took the audio out because of DMCA, but they're all exactly the same, where it's hypersexual, like my pussy doesn't have Down syndrome or whatever, and then ChatGPT captions to accompany it. There are so many accounts and so many examples to pull from. We'll get into some notorious ones in a minute, but in some cases it's the management teams that are doing this, where they're taking their creators and then making like a separate account for them where it's all AI Down syndrome filters on the content to link back to the other OnlyFans, so it's a tactic to try and drum up more clicks to it. I can't exactly find the genesis of this, what started the trend, but it goes back about a month ago from what I can tell, and it is blown up. There are so many of these, and there's a lot of articles being written about it now, about the fetishization of Down syndrome and also just using AI to pretend that these OnlyFans creators have disabilities to try and get more people to their OnlyFans. It's fucking weird. There are so many like this one here where it's not even close to being convincing. You can actually just see the filter fall off anytime she turns around. So like right there, you can see the filter snap back to her face. And every single one of these always has very similar captions that are clearly just AI generated, talking about like, the label doesn't define this and that. And then it goes into the most hyper-sexualized shit ever, like, just because I have Down syndrome doesn't mean I can't go down on your fucking nutsack and suck the piss out of your balls. I will literally suck the cum out like Shang Tsung extracting a soul. And then they all link to an OnlyFans. Now, on that OnlyFans, I don't know if they continue to keep up the ruse that they have a disability. Like, if they continue to just do, like, the AI filters and all of that. But there is a YouTuber who did pay for some of them. His name is Tuv. He did a whole investigation on this and a couple of other things that stem from it. According to him, in most cases of his research, they weren't showing their face, or they'd hide it behind like their phone when they took a picture or something like that. Now, another thing, a lot of these accounts have started to be aware of the fact that you can sometimes see the AI filter glitch when the video has them like turn around when dancing or whatever. So a lot of them are also now starting to only do front-facing stuff, because then the filter isn't prone to glitching as much, which makes it harder to tell if it's fake. So it seems like they're trying to perfect the art of faking disabilities using AI. Now, in some cases, there's been degenerate, loveless weirdos that should be launched into space that are taking people's videos and then putting the AI Down syndrome filter on them to try and make money off it without that person even knowing it was going on. I know in one case there was a TikToker who had her dance videos taken by one of these fucking lobotomites, and he just put the Down syndrome filter on it. She had no idea, didn't sign off on it at all, and was very appalled by it. So that does happen, but I do also think this is a new tactic being used by OnlyFans creators as well as management teams to try and get more clicks to OnlyFans through pretending to have disabilities and shit like that. Like, here's an example of one that I have no idea if the person in the video knows that this is going on, or if it's something they signed off on themselves. But it's a little person with the Down syndrome filter on their face. They have the F-, fucking book report captions that are all just AI generated. It's verbatim the same shit that other people doing this trend are just copying. It is one-to-one, just the same nomenclature and everything. And also, of course, it's always sexualized and always trying to link to OnlyFans accounts and shit. By the way, apparently this combination of being a little person with Down syndrome has only ever been reported 6 times. And the bio for this account says that they're one of 7, claiming that they're the 7th case. Faking disabilities is nothing new. AI's just made it far easier for any goober on the planet to try this. And it's not just the Down syndrome filter that they're using here. They're also doing it for fake amputees and shit like that. That's another really popular one. This is the actual golden age of degeneracy, because all of these fucking weirdos can do this easily now. AI is currently unleashing the infinite Tsukiyomi upon this planet, trapping us in an endless nightmare of degeneracy. They can just keep making all of this fetish content, all of this fake fetish content shit forever. Now, again, I don't know if the OnlyFans creators like the little person there or any of the other ones engaging in this are actually even aware that it's happening, or if it is just third parties or maybe even their managers that are doing it without them knowing. Couldn't tell you, but either way, it is fucking gross. It is crazy that we've reached the point where we're just using AI to fake Down syndrome so more people will click on the OnlyFans and spend money on it. What the fuck? Anyway, I guess just for a tiddlywink of lore, from what I can tell, this was the first fake Down syndrome video that really popped off and like blew up the trend, as well as this one right here was another extremely successful one. So I guess this would maybe be the genesis of it. And now there is thousands, specifically about Down syndrome, all faked AI hypersexualizations and fetishizations of Down syndrome. It is absurd. It's fucking preposterous. Like I mentioned, it's not just Down syndrome, but that is the most popular one right now. It is all kinds of other disabilities that they're faking for OnlyFans revenue. Fucking crazy stuff. Just wanted to talk about that a bit. That's it. See ya.
We never caught the Zodiac Killer, nor DB Cooper, but by golly, I tell you what, you know who we did catch? The Cucumber Butthole Blaster. And I'd say that's good enough. For 7 months, Washington, D.C. citizens have slept in fear, paralyzed with anxiety over the thought that he was out there. Nothing was safe. And for 7 months, we didn't know if he'd ever actually be brought to justice, thrown in the slammer for his degenerate actions with a cucumber. I made a video 7 months ago covering the genesis of this villain. He was captured on camera going up to this car after pulling a cucumber from his lunchbox. He walked over with the big iron on his hip. He then grabbed the cucumber, slapped it into the grill of the car, and then fucked his ass with it. He rode it like a scooter. Well, that is if you ride scooters sitting down, I guess. He rode it like he was galloping on a horse, but it was a cucumber blowing out his fucking guts. Anyway, we have the chilling video camera footage of the event. I won't curse you with that again. I'm not trying to make this like a, you know, the VHS tape from The Ring where you get your butt fucked in 7 days by a cucumber or something, just having watched this degenerate act. But basically, he put it in the grill of the car. He did that, captured on camera. It also happened to be like right next to a school. The whole thing just unbelievably disgusting. Turns out he has a history of doing sex acts like that around the area. This was the only cucumber one that's been reported. This is not what the VeggieTales died for, I'll tell you that much. But he has very extensive history with doing sex acts in public with things like handrails and rakes. And today, he's finally been sentenced.
Being sexually explicit with a cucumber in the middle of the day around the corner from a D.C. high school.
He was sentenced today for a string of sex acts near several families' homes.
What started as a search for a man pleasuring himself in public with a cucumber, now ending with a jail sentence for not one, but a string of alleged sex acts from late July into early September last year.
Now, in the first footage, the initial tapes that captured the cucumber incident where he slapped it in the car's grill, turning it into a unicorn and then cleaning his colon out with it, well, it wasn't just that. He then, after finishing with the car, grabbed the cucumber again and then just bent over and just full-blown, you know, like he was playing a violin with the cucumber, but in his ass. And he did that a few times in and out, and then threw the cucumber back in the lunchbox and then went about his day. I speculated that he may have been out going to do it somewhere else, too. Like, it looked like the director's cut, where it would be like the Cucumber Butthole Blaster will return at the end of, like, you know, the fucking Thunderbolts movie. So, it was just... I had a theory that this wasn't a one-time thing. Turns out, I was correct. I think most people speculated that, though, by the way. It wasn't like a crazy call for me here. He has a history of doing this. You saw a couple of photos there where he's, like, riding the handrails, and he was apparently inserting, like, the end of handrails up his butt.
Mere yards down the street where 31-year-old Anthony Hines II was caught on camera in broad daylight with the vegetable he just pulled from a lunchbox. Court documents show a string of similar incidents, mostly involving handrails. And one, police explicitly said, is shaped like a pine cone. Another handrail, allegedly hit on 2 occasions, is now wrapped with what looks like sandpaper.
Honestly, just put that handrail out of its misery. Just send it to the fucking grave. It doesn't want to live anymore, I'll tell you that much. The sandpaper's only going to do so much. Just take it down, destroy it. It's ruined. It's completely ruined. This weirdo just cruising around Washington, D.C. on freaky mode. Anytime he sees a handrail, he just gets a boner. Also, when he was doing all of these things, did he go to completion till he ejaculated? Like, it's already a huge health hazard, just putting his bare anus on all of these handrails and handles of rakes. Like, I feel like that's a pretty serious thing. Like, there's probably people that use those handrails and maybe got sick fucking pink eye or something, cholera, I have no idea, E. coli. It feels like a pretty big deal to me. But his sentencing was very light. I'll spoil the surprise. He got sentenced to 360 days in jail, but he's only going to be serving 6 months and then some probation. I think that's less than a slap on the wrist. He's going to do it again. For 6 months, he will probably, when he gets out, I would imagine the next day, park your cars in the garage or hide them under some trees somewhere, anywhere out of sight, because there is going to be a rampage with this man and every vegetable he can find at the supermarket. He will be going everywhere, putting everything in his butt across all of Washington, D.C. Mark my words. Like, that is not nearly punishment enough for this, I think.
Footage in one homeowner's backyard reportedly caught Hines using the handle of a garden rake in a sex act.
Public or private, anywhere in your backyard, man, it's not appropriate, I don't think.
Homeowners impacted told me they're relieved for a bookend to the bizarre case, including one whose SUV was targeted with the cucumber, saying she's grateful for the police work, adding, quote, "I'm thankful to the community for helping crack the case of the vegetable voyeur and look forward to enjoying farmers market season in peace."
Yeah, it is nice he was arrested and will be going to jail, but it's not for that long. You can enjoy the farmers market for approximately 6 months. This dude, upon being released, I would wager a guess, will probably walk down the steps, take down his britches, and immediately start flossing his ass crack with the handrail outside the jailhouse. That would be my guess. Like, this is definitely someone who is just out of control. He has a history of doing this with handrails, the fucking handle of a garden rake, a cucumber on some stranger's car right next to a school. Like, come on.
And just today, Hines was sentenced for 5 counts of lewd, indecent, or obscene acts, 4 counts related to accessing private property when he wasn't supposed to be there. He did plead guilty and was sentenced to 360 days in jail, but will serve 6 months, according to the terms, after pleading guilty, and an additional 2 years of probation.
I can't help but just think about that sandpaper handrail one more time real quick. Was that like a preventative measure that they put there? Like, they wrapped it in sandpaper to try and discourage copycat criminals from fucking themselves on it? Or did he, the cucumber butthole blaster, wrap it in the sandpaper for his pleasure? And then the question becomes, how did he not just leave it covered in blood? Like, if he wrapped in sandpaper and then just started, you know, bouncing on it crazy style, how did he not rub all the skin off of his sphincter? So to me, it feels like it was put there after the fact, and I don't see how that does anything at all. It just feels, that whole tidbit of lore there with that handrail post asshole incident is just a little confusing to me, but maybe I'm just not thinking about it properly and can't fully grasp the real intention behind the sandpaper. I think it's also worth mentioning, these are the only cases we know of. There's a chance that every handrail in Washington, D.C. has faced the wrath of this man's asshole. Like, we can't rule out that possibility. This is only what he's been caught with here on these handrails, and that garden rake, and that cucumber on that car. But it could have been spanning years. Only God has that information. We can't possibly seek to understand how long he's been doing this, or how many handrails have been compromised out there. Stay safe, Washington, D.C. Yes, he may be going to jail, but the damage that his anus has done, well, there's no telling the extent. Anyway, I just want to kind of give you the update here on this story. Pretty wacky, wild, and disgusting one, huh? That's really about it. See ya. That's what it would look like if I was reading this news for the first time about the Microsoft price increases. But I read it earlier, and I already got all my frustration out of the way privately, screaming into a pillow. This isn't some make-believe fish paste, a little video game industry boogeyman here with some false reports. This is confirmed that Microsoft will be increasing all of their prices across the board on hardware as well as accessories. And most notably, they are increasing the price on their Xbox first-party games to $80, following in line with what Nintendo's doing with some of their games. Now, you may notice, if you've got some keen peepers on you, I'm not in my normal domain. I'm in a hotel room. I'm in hiding. because I knew I'd need to escape because I'm about to criticize Nintendo again while talking about Microsoft, and Nintendo fans don't like that. So we gotta play it safe here. Nintendo, I think, has set the trend here. They've broken the seal that $80 games will be accepted by people. And by people, I mean gamers, which is a different kind of person, because they will accept any kind of shit you feed them at any price point, it seems. And now, since that case has been made, with the Switch 2 making record-breaking pre-orders, apparently, Microsoft feels confident that they can do the same, and they'll follow suit, and I imagine other big boys in the gaming industry will also do the same, because being able to put the squeeze on gamers' piggy bank a little bit stronger is good for the bottom line. And since a lot of people are defending the $80 price tag, gaming companies are going to go in that direction, and thus it'll most likely be the new norm. But I am surprised it's happening this quick. I thought there'd still be more of a buffer before other big gaming industry giants jumped on board the $80 price tag. Now, of course, Nintendo's not solely to blame here. A lot of it will obviously fall on the uncertainty with tariffs and all of that. That's absolutely a factor here, no doubt. And obviously it's something a lot of people are unhappy about. Except for the mindless drones who do free PR for multi-billion-dollar gaming corporations fighting their battles day and night on Twitter in the trenches to defend their honor, just so they can continue to be exploited for their piggy bank. So anyway, it's been a lot of talk on this subject throughout the day. Everyone is, weighing in, and it's been a big discussion, but there's been a surprising lack of coverage and a lack of discussion around my hot ass and this fucking fart I'm about to shit out. I don't know if the webcam mic could pick that up, but that was American-made. That's tariff-free right there, I'll promise you that. The point is, though, $80 games sucks. And it's not like the price tag is indicative of a quality increase across the board, because in a lot of cases, the main formula these gaming companies look to exploit is live service. So you're paying $80 for oftentimes games that are incomplete and are only tended to after you've paid the $80, and then they'll go in and try and make it better down the line. So you're paying more money for a less complete project in a lot of cases. Of course, that's not an absolute statement. That's not a blanket across the board. But in general, we've seen this a lot in recent years, where the idea is push it out now, let's make money now, we'll fix it later. And I really cannot understand how anyone could see the state that gaming is in right now and be like, yeah, it makes sense. I'll pay $80 for these games that keep coming out that are fucking broken on launch, missing half of the content that they've promised. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, that is pathetic. Like, no one should be happy about the direction of $80 games coming up right now. Anyway, though, I'd like to read you their pricing update that they just posted. As of May 1st, we have adjusted recommended retailer pricing for our consoles and controllers worldwide. We also expect to adjust the pricing of some of our new first-party games starting this holiday season to $79.99. Those titles purchased on the Xbox Store have the benefit of Xbox Play Anywhere, allowing players to buy once and play on console and PC at no additional cost. We understand that these changes are challenging, and they were made with careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and ensuring value for Xbox players. The rising cost of development is something I've talked about a lot, how every game costs like $100 million now and like 6 years of development just baking it in the oven only to come out and be just underwhelming. That is 100% on them. It's not like the industry norm. There are so many indie games that have proven you don't need $100 million budgets to deliver extraordinary experiences. It's just these suits, these fucking corpo zombies at the top of the food chain that are so delusional. They're seeing Hollywood investing $320 million in the fucking stinkerooskies like Electric State and then being like, we need to do that for video games. So that's been the direction they've gone for the last fucking, I don't know, almost 10 years now. But I have said very loudly for a long time, the actual future of AAA gaming is by doing smaller projects that require less time to develop and less money and smaller teams. That, to me, I feel like that's a no-brainer. Like, there are so many examples in recent years you can pull from of small teams or even one-man teams delivering Game of the Year like quality experiences, you don't need to be dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into the next Concorde. Like, it's just a stupid path, but they keep talking about it like it's an inevitability, how development cost has to continue rising, and every studio needs 500 developers all working on Assassin's Creed Shadows 2. Like, it's just super unnecessary. It is so much bloat for no reason. Instead, just put your money where your ass is and just invest in good projects that don't need to be like a super grand slam to make a single oodle of money back on the investment. Like, just think about how much a game has to sell in order to be profitable in the AAA space right now. Even if you do have a game that does really well, it's a good chance it doesn't make any money back because you've put so much money into it over the course of so many years that it'd need to sell like a fucking $1 billion worth of revenue in order to see it go green even slightly. Whereas if you had a bunch of smaller projects that don't need to be these crazy miracle home runs to make money, you stand a chance. Like, I really think the Blumhouse model, this is the one I always mention, where Blumhouse finances like fucking 100 horror movies a year that all cost like $2 to $5 million. And you probably haven't even heard of half of these absolute turbo shitters, but they only need to make like $10 million, $15 million to be like a super success for the company. And they always do. It's very rare that a Blumhouse film doesn't make more than the budget because it's so cheap to produce and it doesn't take that long. So it's a model that is proven efficient and works. And there are so many games that prove that model works too. But AAA is just so hell-bent on just dumping as much infinite money as they can into like one or two projects over the course of so many years. And they just end up being like super safe, Weenie Hut Jr., uninteresting. And even if they do moderately well, it's not good enough because it needs to do extraordinarily well to make any money back because too much went into that fucking pit producing it. And it's only going to get worse now at $80 being the norm because more and more people are getting priced out of buying AAA games. So what's going to happen naturally, more and more people are going to start pirating the games. But anyway, I'm rambling about things I've talked about a lot already. It's just, this is something a lot of people saw coming with $80 being the new norm once that floodgate was opened. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, so it sucks to see. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to rant about it a little bit here. That's about it, so yeah.
There's two questions I get asked more than any others. Why am I short, and why do I live in Tampa? And my answer to both of these questions is the same. Because I like it. I like being short. Feels good. Now, obviously, I'm just kidding. I'm not fooling anyone with that response, but what am I going to do about it? Not exactly something I can change, like a bad hairstyle. It's not like the result of being lazy. It's not like going to the gym more often is somehow going to magically make me taller. This is just the way the Lord 3D printed me, and I'm powerless against it, unless I want to break both of my legs and then take years of physical therapy to learn to walk again and all that, which I'm not going to do, so that's the reason I'm short. Can't help it. But my answer was honest to the second question. I live in Tampa because I like it. I know a lot of people outside of Florida view Florida as like some kind of freak show circus PvP enabled zone because of all the Florida Man stories. So people look at this place as if it's some different planet with an entirely different species of people that live here. But I was born and raised in this swamp. 29 years down here, I got that Florida Man gene embedded deep in my DNA. And boy howdy, I tell ya, I don't see myself moving anywhere outside of Florida. I think even when Florida ends up entirely underwater, it'll be like the new Atlantis. The Florida people will persevere. We'll grow little gills, and we'll have our own new society underwater. And we'll still probably have Publix too. I got a little lost in the sauce here. The whole reason I'm even talking about Tampa to begin with is because of a local news story I read today, coming from my neck of the woods. And it's some pretty deplorable shit here. So, I wanted to share this because it made me ashamed of my fellow Tampa enjoyers.
You are watching what cops say is a terrible crime committed by a brilliant chemist. First, he's seen filling a syringe with some sort of substance. Then, he places the syringe under an apartment door.
Now, he's no Walter White or anything, but this guy is apparently a very gifted chemistry student. He was enrolled at the USF PhD program and, according to all the reports, was very gifted. And what did he do with those gifts? Well, he delivered them like Krampus to a family's doorstep and brought a lot of problems for them.
So he was injecting these chemicals under their doorstep for months, and it caused the family and their newborn baby to get pretty ill.
Umar Abdullah and his wife had just had a baby. Almost immediately, they say, their downstairs neighbor, then a PhD student in chemistry, began complaining about noise.
Imagine being such a miserable piece of shit that a baby crying makes you so upset that you decide to try and assassinate the whole family because the noise is too much. Like, that's bafflingly evil. I understand that a baby crying or being noisy can be a bit annoying, but I just don't know how it can make somebody snap like this. I had an apartment in downtown Tampa, and you can only imagine the things I was hearing there. Between some occasional gunshots as well as some wackier noises. Like a long time ago, I even posted a video about how there was a whole group of frogs that used to fuck right outside of my window of where I slept. And it made it very hard to sleep because they were being real rowdy. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't go out there, take a bazooka and blow up the frogs. You know, I didn't go out there with a sledgehammer and tear up the orgy by killing all the frogs or anything. I politely knocked on the window occasionally, trying to, scare them away, like take this business elsewhere. I also more than once would open up the door out back of my apartment in order to, rustle the bush that they were treating like a frat house to get them away. But the thing is, it never elicits such an extreme response. I get noisy neighbors are frustrating. Like, neighbors above you that are just slamming around, like throwing bowling balls back and forth, just causing a ruckus at all types of odd hours. It's a headache. But this is not the same situation in the first place. It's a baby. It's a newborn baby. Obviously, it's going to cry from time to time. That's how babies work. That's just how it is. Like, I just can't imagine the lunacy here to do something like this, which is basically attempted murder, fundamentally, I would say. It's just fucking crazy.
That's him skulking outside the apartment in Tampa.
After my daughter was born, right after we came back from hospital, he started complaining.
Then the family began smelling chemicals pervading the apartment. Everyone, including the baby, started getting sick.
Psychopath energy just rolls up so casually, like this is just routine. Another walk in the park. No, business as usual. Gets the syringe out and then just blasts it under the door. I'm also a little surprised nobody else saw him do this. I guess I don't know how many residents there are in the area, but he walks around with the vial and syringe out, and no one really stopped to question that around the premises, that is. Or I guess maybe it's possible, since we only see him at the top of the stairs, he brought it out right before the camera catches him. But yeah, just very nonchalant about what is basically attempted murder.
Became overwhelming, and that's when the new dad decided to install a hidden camera. At first, the surveillance video caught just a glimpse of the suspect. The next day, when the camera was repositioned, this happened, and the terrifying truth came out. Initial toxicology reports from police say the substance being pumped into their apartment consists of 2 strong opioids, methadone and hydrocodone.
Now, to further explain, the family was aware of the chemical odor that was permeating through their residence, and they tried everything to get rid of it. They checked all the pipes, everything. Eventually, the landlord even replaced their water heater, thinking that could have been a culprit, maybe something gone awry, malfunctioning in the water heater, leading to that smell. But the smell never went away, and they kept getting sick. The husband noted vomiting. It was just not a good set of circumstances. And that smell that smelled smelly just kept coming back. So eventually the husband got a hidden camera that he could set up outside in a plant, just in case it could help lead to some kind of clues on where this smell was coming from. And that's when they learned who the villain was behind the smell. It was their neighbor that is still seemingly upset that a baby cries. Nobody tell him that he was also once a cringe baby that was making crying noises too, because he'd lose his goddamn mind on it, I guess. He's still upset about it, so then he turned to biological warfare.
The suspect is identified as Shu-Ming Lee, who got his PhD in chemistry at the University of South Florida.
Abdullah says he got his family out of the house and then immediately called police. Lee was arrested and charged with multiple counts, including possession of a controlled substance and aggravated stalking.
This is a situation that, had this not been ultimately caught,
could have resulted in someone dying.
It's scary to think that something as simple as your newborn baby crying was almost a death sentence for this family, or their child at the very least, because it's a newborn. It's not exactly the best things to be inhaling, hydrocodone and methadone. Now, I'm not exactly the most familiar with these substances, as shocking as that is to hear, but it certainly sounds pretty dangerous to me. So I'm happy the family got to the bottom of it. Hopefully there's no lasting side effects from this whole ordeal on them. Hopefully everything's just smooth sailing from here. And yeah, this is just upsetting for all of Tampa. This isn't what we're about down here. Tampa is a place known for many great things, like bath salts and good neighbors, and this guy was not a good neighbor. So yeah, I just wanted to go over this a little bit just because I saw it. It's in Tampa. It's super weird. Anytime there's a Tampa-related crime, it feels personal for me as a resident of Tampa. It feels like, how could you? We're better than this, damn it. You're giving Tampa a bad name. Like, I just feel disappointed. Like, just genuinely disappointed. Alright, it's time to talk about it. There's a new sport on the horizon that's going to drop this month, and it's got more hype than Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao all those years ago. It is a sport that, if given enough time, maybe like 10 years, will probably be more popular than soccer. It's called sperm racing.
Introducing Sperm Racing, the world's first microscopic racetrack.
This is the trailer they posted on their Instagram announcing it. It reminds me of that old anti-piracy commercial, you wouldn't download a car. The first event comes in like a week. It's got $1.5 million invested in this. It's going to be hosted at the Hollywood Palladium in Los Angeles, which is a huge stage. This is basically like the Coachella for nut. As the name would imply, you are watching sperm race on a microscopic track as it tries to get to the finish line first. Now the sperm, of course, doesn't know that it's in an athletic competition. It thinks it's going to fertilize an egg. Those fucking fools there. But you as a spectator know, and you will be able to watch it and follow along on like a mini-map, I guess. And you'll be able to follow the action, and you can even place bets. Honestly, it's eerily similar to that super stinker mega shitter movie I just watched like a month ago and made a video on called Rollerball from 2002, where they created a brand new sport whose whole focus was on betting, getting people hooked on like sports betting and making tons of money through that. I kind of get similar vibes with sperm racing here, even though they try and preach it as like a raising awareness about male infertility. It doesn't really seem to be the primary focus of this event. They openly acknowledge that they know it's goofy and silly, it's self-aware, but it's supposed to have a positive message about raising awareness on declining male fertility rates. But when you put betting in there, real money involved, no one's going to give a fuck about what the message is as long as they can make some money off the meme.
Will there be any gambling?
We've been offered a lot of money from sponsors that are from casinos or a bunch of adult things, right? And they offered a lot more money, but we just haven't taken it. Most of our, our main sponsor is Nucleus, which is a DNA testing company, right? So we kind of want to veer away from the degeneracy and actually turn this into a health thing. So most of our sponsors are actually health, and especially with betting, right? We're not partnering with a massive casino, we're partnering with a prediction market. We're going to give biomarkers and stuff like that.
They did an interview with TMZ, which they did highlight multiple times about how the focus is on, trying to make this more of a health-focused event. But when the question of gambling got up, he said they didn't take any sponsorships from any big casinos or anything like that, Instead, they've partnered with something else in regards to betting. So there is still betting. It's just not, stake-sponsored sperm race or anything like that. I don't know why he didn't just say, like, yeah, there's gambling, but we're not partnered with a big casino. Instead, he started by making it seem like, no, there won't be gambling, but at the end he does mention they have partnered with someone for betting. And in multiple sources now, I've read that it's going to be gambling through something called Polymarket, and long-term they want to have their own crypto-based betting platform where people can bet on a lot of different variables aside from just who wins the race. So it really seems to me like gambling does seem to be a pretty big part of the sperm racing identity, at least in terms of like goals. Anyway though, let's turn our attention to the Sperm Racing Manifesto. So the team behind this is a startup called Sperm Racing, And the first part of their manifesto is dedicated to outlining the purpose behind this event, which is to bring more attention to male fertility rates that are declining because it's not being talked about enough. Now, interestingly enough, I recently tested my sperm for the first time ever. I actually got to see how the sausage was made in my sack. I posted a video about it. How fertile am I? Answer, very fertile. Super fertile, actually. Really good stats. I would definitely be topping leaderboards right now, probably top 500 global. And I got to actually see my little swimmers for the first time ever. I, like a proud father, I got to take a look at them. And it was very cool. I'd probably do a great job if I was to be an athlete in the sperm racing circuit, which I thought was very cool because I thought there was a chance I'd just be sterile. Like, you know, aliens I've been talking about for so long, maybe they got fed up with me talking so much shit, they came in the middle of the night, sucked the piss out of my balls, and ruined any chance I'd ever have of, you know, having kids. But luckily that wasn't the case. Charlie 1, Alien 0. Overall, though, I do feel like the purpose they describe here about talking about male fertility rates declining is a very solid thing to be trying to bring awareness to, because I do think it's an important piece of health people should be more aware of. I'm just not fully convinced that's the main motivator behind sperm racing when you're using real money here with betting. Now let's look at how the actual sport functions here, because initially I thought this would be you'd have two ranked jerkmate competitors come out and they'd have to, you know, ejaculate into a petri dish, and then they'd somehow measure the speed that it takes for them to like fertilize an egg or something. And that would lead to a lot of variables outside of the sperm itself, because then it'd be about who's the optimal meat beater and the strokes per minute. There'd be a lot of min-maxing, and it really wouldn't be about the sperm anymore. That is not the case. So instead, what they've done is build a microscopic racetrack, which you can see in the blueprints there, that's meant to mimic the reproductive system, chemical signals, fluid dynamics, synchronized starts, making sure no one's cheating there. High-resolution cameras are going to track every microscopic move. It'll all be live-streamed with stats, leaderboard, and instant replay, so they have the fucking Jumbotron activated here. And how is the winner determined? It's the sperm that crosses the finish line first, which will be verified by advanced imaging. They also mention that there's going to be weigh-ins, sports commentary, the whole kit and caboodle, really. Now, I'm sure everyone's wondering, who are the star athletes here? Who's the LeBron James of sperm racing? Well, the two competing members of the sperm racing, you know, premiere are apparently university students from rival schools. So they're going to pit their loads against each other here to see who's fastest. Now, the question naturally becomes, how does the collection process works? Because I'm sure all of you know, sperm isn't diamonds. It's not forever. It's not going to live long enough for them to like bust a load the previous night and then bring it in. So the question was asked by TMZ, what does this process look like? And they talk about how they're going to have samples from each of the competitors, and they're going to basically set it up through their systems to get it ready for the race. And also the collection is going to be done at the Palladium on the night of the event, so that way it's as healthy as it can be.
We take that output and then we keep it at body temperature. We do like a cleaning process, so we're able to take just the sperm cells, and then we race it in our microfluidic, which acts as like a microscopic racetrack.
Are they doing this at the Palladium? Not the collection. The collection. No, I'm really asking. The collection.
Yeah, the collection is live. It's to keep it as healthy as possible so we can test to see how their biomarkers affected their sperm health.
I don't want to get too graphic, but they're not doing it in front of the audience. The crowd. They'll be...
Now you're probably saying to yourself, wow, the team behind sperm racing looks really young. And you'd be right. They are really young. The company was started by a 17-year-old named Eric Zhu, and also the co-founder is a 16-year-old named Nick Small. Also, there's someone named Shane Fan, who was the chief executive of an NFT pricing platform named Waterfall, and then someone else named Garrett Nienko, who was a content strategist for Mr. Beast. From what I've read, that's the entire team. Which then brings up the question, is that even legal? Like these are two minors here that are going to be handling semen samples from some university students that blew their load in the bathroom at the Hollywood Palladium there. Like, is that allowed? Like, these university students just giving their cum to these minors to use in this race? I have no idea. I have no clue, but it's really fucking weird if you ask me. But maybe it's totally allowed, you know, by the sports association. Maybe I just don't know ball. No clue, but I found that to be really bizarre. And then even a step beyond the obvious weirdness of this shit, it is also minors that have introduced gambling into their sport. Is that legal? Again, I don't have the answer. I don't know, but the whole thing is so fucking odd. Also, I've seen a lot of buzz on Twitter about sperm racing in regards to a crypto coin, a little shit coin popping off for it. I don't know if it's directly from the sperm racing team or not, but there's a lot of people talking about pumping it and a lot of people really blabbering about the crypto element of sperm racing here. So it's all pretty odd. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over it a little bit. Weird shit. That's about it. So yeah. We're in the middle of Minecraft movie madness. It's sweeping like the bubonic plague. Theaters are erupting into chaos every time the word chicken jockey gets said. And I'm constantly being sent things and asked about it, like, what do I think? Because somehow I'm the only person on the planet that got to see this movie in pure silence. When I saw the Minecraft movie on opening day, I was the only one in the theater. I even made like a whole sailor's log. I only ever posted one little clip of it on my Instagram, but I filmed like 6 of them throughout my lonely ass experience in there.
No one's even accidentally wandered in. Still just me in here, on the front lines of the Minecraft movie.
So like I had this whole diary of my experience with the Minecraft movie, which is unbelievably different from everyone else's right now. The phenomenon I documented is nothing compared to what everyone else has. It seems like this movie has reached a point where people go to it just to cause a ruckus because it's part of the meme and everyone wants to feel like, you know, part of the crew, part of the ship. Now, ordinarily, I'm not humbugging people that get excited during a movie and scream like a big line, or God forbid someone starts like clapping at the screen during a moment. Like, it's a little cringe, but it doesn't really bother me. It doesn't annoy me, and I don't get like mad about it or anything. I do very much dislike it when people break out into a song during a movie. Heavens to Betsy, Lord have fucking mercy. That is miserable when someone just starts singing the song during a film, but luckily that's only happened like once I can recall. But this is just not that. It's not people just like getting excited and like saying chicken jockey. I'm sure you've all been seeing the clips, and I'm tardy to the party here because I was just gonna not bother talking about it because I sound like such a Scrooge here because I fucking hate it. Like, bringing the live chicken in, going ballistic, throwing popcorn, confetti. There was one where people were puking on the floor, throwing soda. Another one where they body slammed one of the employees. Cops getting called because of this kind of shit from just like fighting in the theater because of chicken jockey. I hate all of it. It's the perfect storm of things I can't stand all coming together and bubbling over in this foul fucking cauldron at Minecraft movie showings multiple times per week. It's like if James Corden announced he was doing a comedy tour across Tampa. Like, I hate it. It'd make me mad every time I heard about him doing a show. I've insulted countless pranksters whose prank involves just causing a mess for employees to clean up and just treating everyone around them like NPCs for their content. This is that phenomenon, but amplified with everyone being the prankster. Everyone going to the theater to ironically scream and shout at every flint and steel and chicken jockey moment, and then throwing popcorn in this huge crescendo of pandemonium and making just this ridiculous headache for all of the employees at the theater to have to clean up their fucking mess so that way they could get a couple updoots on TikTok. It'd be a totally different story if this was just genuine or organic, where people were just so blown away by this masterpiece of a movie they couldn't help themselves and they erupt into cheers and applause, and maybe it gets a little messy as it continues to escalate. But this is just all performative for internet clout. Who can make the loudest, biggest mess and get as crazy as like possible? Who can one-up the person carrying the chicken and riding on someone's shoulders and, you know, blowing up the whole fucking theater into debris and puke for all the employees to come clean up after? And I've seen the Minecraft director come out and defend it, which I understand why he would defend it. This is huge ticket sales for his movie. I also couldn't help but giggle at his response where he says that it's just for throwing popcorn. You were just having too much fun and apparently that's illegal? Get back out there and throw some more fucking popcorn, buy some more tickets. I totally understand why he'd want to lean into this trend because it is putting more and more money in his pocket. So obviously he wants to come out and encourage it because it is so good for him that people are doing this and buying tickets to his movie. I'd be doing the same shit if I was in his position. I'd go even harder. I'd be like, 1 chicken? That's all? That's the best you bastards can do? Come on! There's so much more potential here. Get your friends, your family, your Fint plug together. Bring them all to the Minecraft movie this weekend, and let's make unforgettable memories. A block-bustin', nut-bustin' extravaganza. Bring in more chickens. Bring in the fucking cold corpse of Jimmy Hoffa. We are going to make this even bigger with Chicken Jockey. We have to show up for Chicken Jockey. I'd be trying to snowball it even harder. I'd turn it into a hashtag, you know, like hashtag Minecraft Movie Challenge or something, because he's making millions of dollars from this, no doubt. So he's clearly not going to come out and just shake his finger at it like, no, 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 this is naughty. You guys shouldn't do this in my movie. Because why would he? He's able to just sit back, have people just ironically buy tons and tons of tickets for it, and it's great for him. But as someone who has no financial gain from the Minecraft movie, and someone who just watched it, I would hate to have been someone in one of these auditoriums where people were just constantly shouting throughout the whole film, every fucking line, which apparently has happened a lot, and then going ballistic for Chicken Jockey, where it becomes destructive, throwing popcorn and soda all over the place. That sucks. That is horrible. And I really do feel terrible for all of the employees at these theaters that have to clean up after this shit. And again, none of this is even genuine in the first place. It's all ironic. And all for the sake of those sweet, sweet TikTok videos hoping to pop off and go viral from. Now, to bring up what I mentioned at the beginning with my experience with the Minecraft movie, I got to watch that in basically a fucking sensory deprivation chamber. It was just me, nobody else. And I didn't realize at the time how lucky I was for that, because if I had to be in one of those theaters when someone was popping off with the Chicken Jockey scene and throwing soda all over the place and spitting and shitting and farting and fucking and whatever, I would have been so mad. Like, that would have been a complete nightmare. So, I am very thankful that for some reason, nobody went to Minecraft movie opening day, and I got to see it in peace. And that movie is ass. It is not a good movie. The reason this is popping off so much is because it's not a good movie and it's all ironic. Which brings me to something I've mentioned before. I wonder, and I of course don't have the answer, there's no way of knowing, I wonder if this will be a more common behavioral trend where when a movie is obviously bad, like we saw with Morbius. Morbius was bad and became a big meme, everyone shit on it, made $1 more billion. They even had that like meme scene where he says it's Morbin time and everyone like screams and shouts. That wasn't a real video, but now that this has been established with Minecraft movie, I wonder if we saw like another like Morbius stinker, like another piece of shit like that, if people will now start seeing it ironically for the sake of trying these like ironic pop-offs for these moments for the sake of internet clout. I don't know if it's isolated to just the Minecraft movie, if it's special in that regard, or if we're going to see this for other bad movies going forward. So I'm just pretty curious to see if this is just a one-time deal with this movie, or if this now becomes some kind of common occurrence, which would really fucking suck. Anyway, that's about it. So yeah, gaming, dusted off a little classic meme for you there, is meant to be an entertaining hobby. But for one man in China, it wasn't entertaining at all. In fact, it was a source of misery and dread. And the game in question is not League of Legends, like many of you probably immediately assumed. It's a game called 3 Kingdoms Kill Online. And this one man had been at the top of the leaderboards, wreaking havoc for 15 years in the Crucible. And now, he is finally suing the game developer for the trauma he has experienced. What trauma? You're asking yourself, scratching your head. Well, you see, in 3 Kingdoms Kill Online, there is an evil little mechanic at play where you can disrespect your opponents by throwing eggs and sandals at them. And you see, this gamer, for 15 years, suffered at the hands of these heathens throwing eggs and sandals at him. And he said, it's been taking a huge toll on his life, ruining his self-esteem, and calculates that he has been slapped by virtual eggs and sandals over 4,800 times in just the last year alone. Now, I'm sure all of us have been through traumatic experiences, but we can all agree nothing even comes close to what this poor soul has gone through. I can't even imagine 15 years of virtual egg and sandal slaps. My God, I can only wish him the best on his legal pursuit. I talked about it on stream a little bit, and this is a lawsuit that I've been really trying my best to stay as in tune on as possible. It is a Chinese lawsuit, so the information I get comes from China and gets translated, and it's not the most active updates in the case, but I am so captivated by this idea that this guy is suffering because people troll him at the end of the games by spamming egg and sandal emotes. That is unbelievable to me, and I'm so curious to see how it shakes out, because apparently he's got a real case with this. So let me give you a little bit more of the basics. I covered them on stream, and then I'll come in with a little bit more I've learned. I read a story, I think it was 2 days ago. A man in China is suing a game developer, I can't remember who, I think it's Kingdom Clash, because he said that over the course of his thousands of hours playing Kingdom Clash, he has had his life ruined by players he beats in the game throwing bananas at him. And he said that every time he gets hit with a banana, it lowers his self-esteem to the point that his life is not the same. It is amazing. Let me pull this up for you. Man sues gaming company after being virtually slapped 4,800 times in multiplayer game. Self-esteem hammered. I can already just imagine him tossing and turning. I won my game. But Shadow Slayer 5 won the war. He threw a banana at me. Fuck. Fuck. What did I do? Wow. I closed my eyes for a second and I have 2 different auto-playing ads. A Chinese gamer has taken legal action against the gaming company, alleging emotional distress caused by repeated virtual attacks from other players. The man using the pseudonym Kyobin has been an avid player of 3 Kingdoms Kill online for the past 15 years and currently holds the game's highest rank. The game, developed by a company based in Hangzhou, was launched in 2009 and is set during China's historic 3 Kingdoms period. It allows 4 to 8 players to battle it out in matches that last between 10 to 30 minutes. Kyobin said that after each match he won, opponents would throw virtual items like eggs and straw sandals at his character. These items would trigger animations that resembled facial slaps, which he described as emotionally damaging and humiliating. He calculated he had been hit more than 4,800 times in the past 6 months alone. And the other article I read, it was bananas. Was it a different translation? Is it eggs or bananas? Because that makes a huge difference. Bananas got a lot more girth to it. It's going to hurt a lot more and feel worse on the receiving end of the virtual slapping. He believes the repeated attacks were a way for other players to vent frustration after losing, with one incident lasting over 90 seconds. Every time I am hit with eggs, I feel my self-esteem is harmed and I get depressed, he said, adding that the public nature of these virtual slaps made him feel insulted in front of other players. Honestly, if it was me, I'd lean into that. I don't know if there's game chat, but if I saw him in my lobby, he's the top-ranked player, and I'd know it, I'd absolutely just lay into it like, you should feel shame! You're getting slapped with eggs! Yeah, I don't want to play with you again, you're getting slapped with eggs! I don't respect you! I can't imagine, rather. I guess I don't know for sure. I cannot imagine a judge seeing this and being like, wow, this guy deserves compensation. 4,800 eggs and sandals? Where have we gone so wrong in society? The offensive items can either be acquired for free through gameplay or purchased at a low cost, something Kyobin claims the gaming company benefits from. He accused the developers of tolerating and allowing such behavior, saying they profit from it while doing little to address the issue. Rather, the items are there for the sake of a little bit of in-game trolling. Despite reaching out to customer service multiple times, Kyobin said his concerns were ignored, which prompted him to file a lawsuit seeking compensation. The exact amount he is demanding has not been disclosed. He should ask for 100 mil. Absolutely ask for 100 mil. Shoot for the stars. The incident has drawn mixed reactions online, with some users expressing sympathy. Who in the fuck would possibly express sympathy at some guy whining and suing because he's getting slapped with eggs and sandals in a virtual mobile game? You've got to be such a weirdo loser to be like, my heart breaks for you, Kyobin. This is bad. This is bad. No matter how strong a player is, they can still be crushed by eggs and straw sandals, one player wrote. Others shared similar stories of in-game bullying, with one user saying, I was hunted by other players for a month in another game. Every time I logged on, I was attacked and killed, which caused me significant trauma. I can't play my mobile games without the fear of eggs looming. March 31st, spokesperson from the company acknowledged the issue and said the items were originally part of the game's design, but added that restrictions would be introduced. No, don't be a bitch! They also confirmed that the company will cooperate with the court as the case moves forward. Come on! A lawyer pointed out that the use of eggs and straw sandals is inherently insulting and said that it's the company's responsibility to ensure respectful gaming environment. Well, could I reasonably sue for emotional distress when I lose to Kyobin? It feels bad when I lose, it's causing me significant trauma. Your right is to not be hit with eggs and straw sandals in our game. So that's what it looks like when you get slapped with sandals. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. I can see why it'd take such a toll on him. It's such an interesting case, and it somewhat reminds me of that infamous Twitch lawsuit from a couple years ago, where a gooner tried suing Twitch for like 20 mil because he couldn't stop getting hard and masturbating to female streamers on the platform, and accused them of purposefully putting female streamers like feeding female streamers to him for the sake of getting him addicted to porn. It was a very interesting lawsuit. And while this doesn't share anything in common with like gooning or whatever, like the gooner suit, it just reminds me of just unhinged claims that they actually push forward and try and put real water in. Like that Twitch lawsuit I just mentioned, that was a real thing that he tried. It wasn't like just a complete throwaway toilet paper suit. Like, it was something he actively pursued. And this is another one of those where it is a real case that is going to actually be examined. The whole crux of it is he believes that the game company has a responsibility to protect players from this kind of disrespect and this kind of insults. It should not be providing players with the ability to slap him with eggs and sandals, because it's really hurting his self-esteem and it's making him feel bad. It's making him depressed, as he said. And it seems like he's not the only one that feels that way. There is a sentiment that is expressed here where a lot of people seem to agree, actually. So there is a chance that he actually wins this lawsuit because too many people have slapped him with eggs and sandals in that game, which I just find so interesting. And I'm curious, could this open a can of worms, should he win this, where I could start making cases like in something like Fortnite, where they inherently have things built in for the sake of some trolling, like the L dance, or if someone kills me and then cranks a fucking default dance on my corpse, can I come after Epic Games for some trauma that I may have experienced through being embarrassed with these emotes that they have given players access to insult me? You know what I mean? Like, it feels like you could easily make this argument for pretty much any game ever. So I'm very, very interested to see how it all plays out. And I just thought it was so fucking silly about getting slapped with eggs and sandals for 15 years. Just being like a magnet for eggs, and then getting really upset, and finally you're just like, enough is enough, I'm taking it to court. I just think it's so good. So I wanted to talk about it a bit. That's it. See ya. Emergency crew rescues sex doll after mistaking it for a drowning woman. Can't look at that on stream, but I'm going to look at that over here right now. It was reported by a YouTuber, Natsuki Tanaka, who believed she was witnessing a real-life rescue. While filming a fishing video, I thought a dead body floating in the water had washed up, but it was a blow-up doll. I don't think I can show this on stream, but if this is how they rescue people, they need to work on their procedure. To paint you a picture, the rescue crew is lifting up the body with a rope. It's literally, they have her in a noose, and they're lifting it out of the water. And I guess at this point they still believed it was a person. That has to be the most counterintuitive way of rescuing somebody. They thought it was a dead person? Yeah, but even still, like, it doesn't take a whole lot to realize that dead bodies decompose. They could have just ripped the fucking head off of that thing. So even if it was a dead body, that is an extremely inefficient way of getting it out of the water. You should look at the video of the granny that got airlifted if you want another great rescue. That one is a timeless classic. I do like that one a lot. She survives, so this one's got a happy ending, and she was totally fine, but yeah, this one is great. This is one of the better rescues I've seen. They had her wound up like a fucking Beyblade. I bet she really enjoyed the ride, though. It's like a carnival ride. Yeah, it's only just begun. She hasn't reached the G-forces that will kill you, but she gets close. This is the kind of training astronauts go through. I can just imagine, like, them looking down at her and laughing. Like, you can't help it, right? Like, you recognize the goofiness of the situation. She's probably not having any fun. Oh, God. She's about to travel back through time. It's like a laundry machine when you put a brick in it. Oh, the G-forces are too much. Oh, God. Yeah, they just fly away in shame. They never actually get her on board, I don't think. And according to reports, she was totally fine, but I have to imagine that maybe she died here and they're just covering their ass. Yeah, that's one of my favorite rescues. That's like a rescue out of GTA RP. Like if you get a really inexperienced hospital worker that picks you up and they just kill you on the way. Can she feel that? I think so. I think she was there for a broken leg. I think it was a hiking trail and she broke her leg on it. So, I mean, it's not like she was knocked out. She was just there getting fucking spun around. On the world's most extreme merry-go-round. You should play the video with newscaster audio. Is there a video with newscaster audio? I don't think I've ever heard it.
Efforts to rescue an injured hiker in Arizona took a dramatic turn. That's a key word on Tuesday. A spokesman for the Phoenix Fire Department said a 75-year-old woman was being airlifted when the basket carrying her began to spin out of control. Officials say a line used to prevent
it doesn't get old.
Did not function properly.
The spin is just so comical. Yeah, it sounds about par for the course. Is that the audio, or do they have real-time audio? Like, do they have like a newscaster that was watching this unfold live, and they're like, "Oh my God, Jesus Christ!"
We trained for it. We did a couple of
the training paid off for sure.
To help stop it, mitigate it, and be able to eventually get her into the basket. They tried to stop some of the spin with the line that Paul was referring to. But that didn't work, and it actually eventually broke, so we brought it down again, brought it back up, hoping some of the spin would lessen, which it didn't, obviously. So the next...
I feel like it gets faster every time I watch it. I imagine it's going so fast that it started to throw off the helicopter's balance. It's like matching the speed of the blades. She sued for $2 million and won. 74-year-old woman files $2 million claim. Hey, good for her. I mean, you get to go on a little amusement park ride, the little spinning teapots, and you get $2 million? I mean, that's a fucking deal. Good for her.
See this?
For the Phoenix Fire Department,
oh, here we go.
A typical rescue that quickly spun out of control.
This is really going fast now.
Inside that hoist basket, picking up speed, was 74-year-old Cataline Metro, the injured hiker suddenly on a rescue ride that her husband thought could cost her her life.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's dead or alive.
Watching from the ground with stunned
but one thing was for sure, she was having fun.
150 times. For 2 minutes, her husband says she fought to stay conscious as crews struggled to slow the basket.
You know, her only first thing she said, "I'm glad I'm alive," because she thought she was going to die.
Tonight, Cataline Metro back on the ground after the rescue
that sounds about right.
of a lifetime.